So we are going to get started. My name is Mark, and I'm going to be teaching this class. If you want music on, I don't typically have music, so if you're all muted, which is great, you can just put the music on in the background. That way you can have some music at whatever volume you want, and you can hear me at whatever volume you want. So it's kind of your choice. Today, strength and movement, we are going to be doing a warm-up, some different animal movements. We're going to go into reviewing the spinal position we discussed last week really quickly, and then we're going to go into a bunch of supersets. And today we're going to be supersetting opposing muscles. So we'll be doing chest and back, quads, hamstrings, core, lower back, just kind of moving around those areas. Equipment, if you're just joining us, you can check the chat. You need a towel and a dumbbell. If you want to use a band, you can as well. So we're going to start with just taking a lunge step down, reaching over the forward leg, and then coming up and reversing. My left leg is forward, my right arm is going to reach across because that's how I'm stretching up that chain. And we're going to go back and forth. If you feel like that's a lot of pressure on your knees because we're just starting to get moving, you can just keep this back leg a little straighter so that you're still getting that chain stretch in the hip flexor without so much weight on your knees in a lunge position. I will try and check the chat if you have any questions. Everyone's muted for the workout, but if you can always unmute yourself to ask a question if you have one.
3, 2, 1. Your timer is complete.
Oh, that's fine. Good, we're gonna be double shoulder width apart, one hand at 6, one at 12. And we're gonna go back and forth. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now we're going to move, we're going to walk. Trying to keep your knees straight and your back flat. So we're trying not to round. I don't want to round like this as I'm doing it. I want to try and keep back flat. We're going to be in this position. So maybe you're going to be up here depending on your hamstrings. And we're going to move to one side, come across to the other side. Move to one side, come across to the other side. So if you have really tight hamstrings, you may be up here just moving from one thigh to the next thigh. That's okay. Back and forth. If you're joining us a little bit late, you need a towel and a dumbbell. It is in the chat. Good, we're gonna ape hop from left to right laterally. So we're gonna come to the bottom of the squat position. We're gonna put a little bit of weight on our wrists and we're gonna hop once and twice, and then once the other way and twice. If you have a really limited space, if you have to do one and then come back for one, you can. Or you can do 2 and then come back for 2. A couple more. Good. Come to the bottom of the lunge position. So if my left leg is forward, my right leg is left leg forward, right leg down. I'm gonna reach as far over as I can. I'm gonna come back, and I'm gonna drive my hip forward and then come back. So reaching over, back, hip forward, and back. Three, 4, 5, 6. All right, we're gonna change sides. Same thing. Over, hip down. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Good. We're going to come into the bottom of our Cossack. Now, if you can't do a Cossack, you can do a bottom of a lunge. So what we're going to do down here, this is going to be a bit of a flow movement, so watch me first. In this bottom of the Cossack, right, I got a stretch in my groin and my hip. I'm going to roll my hip into a lunge, continue rolling as far as I can, and then I'm going to come back, come up, and come down. Okay, so from this side, driving my hip, so I'm just bringing my hip through the full rotation, coming as far over as I can, coming back, and then back up. Now, what that can look like if you have a hip that doesn't move very well is you can come up on a platform here with your foot up. You can do the same thing. So I'm in this position. I'm going to roll my hip forward, reach as far over as I can, roll back to the start. Essentially, we're just applying a little bit of pressure through the rotation of the hip as we go, and then getting a spinal twist in the end. So let's do a couple per side. So bottom of the Cossack, driving, rolling the hip, and all the way over to a spinal twist, and back, then we're going to change sides. Rolling the hip, driving the hip down, over, back, other side. Good, one more per side. And back up. Good. All right, we're gonna put our hands behind our back, feet shoulder width apart. We're gonna hinge forward, and we're gonna let the arms drop forward as far as we can. And I'm gonna reach one way, reach the other. So we're gonna go back and forth like we're trying to turn a steering wheel while in this position. If your shoulders are tight or this doesn't feel good, just back it off a little bit. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 2 more, 9, 10. Good, we're gonna come into a crab position. We're gonna drive the hips up. From here, I'm gonna reach over that leg and then come down, reach for the other, and then come down. So I'm bridging up, gonna reach over, then I'm gonna come back down. Again, if this is really tough for you, you can bridge up a little bit and just do a small reach. You can also stay flat on your heels and do a reach, then bridge up, come down, do a reach. So there's lots of things you can do depending on where you're at and what you're confident with. Coming up into this bridge on one arm may be really uncomfortable for you, or you may not be confident. That's okay. Do one more per side. Good. Lying on our stomach. So we're gonna have our hands out. I'm gonna roll over into one shoulder stretch. Then I'm gonna roll over into the other. We're actually gonna go back and forth. 1, then the other. 2. So we're rolling, pivoting on the ground. 1, chest and shoulders. 2. Remember, the purpose of this is not to hold a static stretch. We're warming up the muscles. We're not trying to elongate them. This is not about flexibility. This is just about mobility. We're just trying to move within our ranges of motion, which will increase our range of motion just enough to help warm us up and get us ready for some of these movements we're going to be doing today. again, if you want to turn on video, go ahead. It'd be great for me to see some of you. It's not being recorded. Good. And back up. So we're going to go from next downward dog, driving my heels. And I'm going to rock onto my toes like I'm doing a calf raise. Come forward into cobra. I'm going to put my feet flat on the ground. And I'm going to come up and start again. So I'm going from the downward dog position, up on my toes, into a cobra, and then I'm going to come back up and repeat. And take your time with this. If you find this is too much, you can also do divide them up. So you're going to push down and up. You can do 8 of those where you're just doing the downward dog. And then you can come down into your spinal position, maybe even a low cobra if you're worried about your back, and do that 8 or 10 times. So you don't have to do this slightly more complex, more challenging version if you're not comfortable transitioning from one to the other. And we're going to do 2 more. And 1 more. Good. Well, my timer died on me, so let me look at where we're at. Okay, so we're going to move into the workout. So supersets, or sorry, spinal position, that was next. So we're going to quickly go over spinal position again. Laying on your back. So we did this last week. Just going to go over it quickly to find that spinal position, neutral spine. You're trying to maintain this in 99% of the stuff you're going to do. Gymnastics is the only time. Hollow body you want to adopt. I'm not going to talk too much about that. So hip rotation. I'm going to push my hip back toward the ground, which is going to cause my spine to be completely collapsed into the ground. And then I'm going to move it forward so that I have a huge arch from my back. So we're going to go back and forth. 1, 2, 3. Now neutral spine is halfway. So halfway between this extreme and this extreme is my neutral spine. It's my natural spine curve. You're probably going to have a little bit of a gap under your hand. That's where we want to be in most of our movements. When we're squeezing our core, we want to be in that position. So let's do that again. Down and back up. One extreme, the next. 1, 2, 3. Now let's go to neutral. And then I want you to bridge up and hold that bridge while maintaining that neutral position. And if you want a little bit more of a challenge, you can have your arms up in the air while you do, because it takes you off balance a little bit, especially if you start to fatigue in this position. I'm going to lower myself back down. Let's do it again. 1 extreme, 2, so anterior pelvic tilt to a posterior pelvic tilt, which is essentially my spine against the ground and my spine as far away from the ground as I can. And then neutral, halfway between the two, lock that in, squeeze the abs, and then bridge up. You're trying to maintain that position. So those muscles you feel in the glutes, in the quads, in the abs, that's what you should be feeling in a lot of the movements we're going to be doing. Okay, we're going to do it one more time, and then we're going to move into the workout. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, neutral, bridge, hold, 2, 3. We're going to go to 10 seconds. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Good. I'll keep checking the chat if you have questions. If you don't want to talk on the microphone or turn your video on, I'll try and check as often as I can. Hopefully I don't lose anybody. So first superset, we're doing opposing muscles. That's for the start, front of the body, back of the body. We're doing chest and back, or back and chest first. Exercise number 1 is a back widow. We're going to try and do 8 to 12 reps. We'll see how many rounds we get through. So we have a back widow, which is for upper back without any equipment. So this is handy for those who don't have very much weight, because it still challenges you. And we're going to do push-ups. Decline if you can, flat if you can, incline if you need to. So whatever is good for you, right? If I'm on a decline here, I'm up and I'm on a decline, that's okay for me. Maybe you want to be flat. Maybe you need to be on an incline and doing your push-ups on an incline. Try and keep your toes straight. That would be the ideal. A back widow, if you've never done this before, I'll show you from the rear. What's going to happen is I'm going to be laying on the mat with my elbows out. My feet are going to be off the ground, so I'm not supporting with my feet. I'm going to raise, pull my shoulders back up, and come onto my elbows and hold that position. And what's happening is I'm basically retracting my scapula, my upper back, my lats squeezing and holding, and then coming back down. Again, if you need your feet, you can. We're trying to avoid using the feet because planting the feet will help you use too much of your core. Taking that off, we're really trying to focus on the upper back. All right, that's a back widow.
Hey, Mark, just to
I call it out, and we have decline push-ups. Yeah?
Just confirming your arms are at a 45-degree angle, not at a 90 for that?
45, yeah. Any other questions? Okay, so let's do it. Back widow, and then into decline push-ups. I'll do this position for the first round. So coming up, hold, 1, 2, 3, down, up, 1, 2, 3, down, up, 1, 2, 3, down. Keep going. Keep that count in your head. I'm trying to retract the scapula, engage the upper back. That's 6, 7. Your neck, you're trying to keep as neutral as you can, which will avoid a big neck strain because you're trying to focus on your upper back. If you need to take a little break, that's okay. Your neck, depending on how strong it is, may or may not like this at all. Almost there. That's 10, 2 more. Squeeze those shoulder blades together to hold this position. 11, 1 more. And 12. Now we're gonna go to push-ups right away. So whatever kind of push-up you can do, give you a 3 count. 2, 1. Here we go. Down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Good. So we're going to take a short break. Now's the time to ask questions. I'll change my angle so you can see from the side. And then we're going to go into round 2. Same 2 exercises. Okay. Elbows on the mat. Okay, here we go. So round 2. Elbows planted at the 45. Gonna come up, squeeze my upper back. 2, 3, and down. And down. And down. We're trying not to use our core. We're trying to use our upper back. So pulling our shoulder blades back, getting weight on our elbows. That's what's really gonna get the upper back and lats engaged and squeezed. Six, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. One more. Squeeze that back. 12. Good. Push-ups. Right into it. Down and up. 1. Give you another second to get ready. Down. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Good job. Good. We're going to give it 30 seconds rest. We're going to go to one more round. And if you have questions, feel free to ask. Big focus here. I mean, the worst case scenario, you're overusing your core instead of your upper back. But that really is kind of the worst case scenario. Your core is getting stronger. Your upper back may not be getting as much benefit as you would like, but that's still great to have a strong core. 15 seconds. We're gonna go to round 3. Laying back. 3, 2, 1. Feet off. Here we go. Up. 2, 3, and down. Up. 3, down. Without the elbows, you could have your hands up and come a little bit higher. It's actually quite a bit harder to do, which is why I introduced the elbow version, but it's a lot easier on your elbows. Probably better off getting a mat out or a cushion from your couch to place on your elbows. I think that's 6. I don't remember. We're gonna go with that. Really squeezing the shoulder blades. 8, 9, 10. Don't worry, we got more upper back coming. 11. One more. And 12. All right, push-ups. Give you a second to transition, depending on where you're going for these. And here we go. Down and up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 2 more. 11, 12. Let's go for bonus. 13, 14, keep going. 15, bonus. 16, more bonuses. 17, 18, 2 more bonuses. 19, and 20 bonus. Good job. Okay, round 2. Superset number 2. We're gonna have towel pull downs. So I'm gonna use a band. And what you're gonna do, essentially with your towel, or if you have a band, a thick band, is I'm essentially trying to bend it apart, which is what engages my upper back, just like our elbow when we just finished. I'm gonna be up against the wall. You can see that, maybe not so well, I'll do it from here. The wall's gonna be in front of me. What I'm gonna do is pull this apart and come down to my chin like I'm doing pull downs on a bench. So if you've done lat pull downs before, same idea. We're gonna be here, we're gonna be pulling away, and then we're gonna come. The wall just helps us keep a straight line. So you don't technically have to be up against the wall. Move this over a little bit. You don't technically have to be up against the wall, but it's helpful. So because I'm tall, I'm gonna go here, pulling apart, following the wall, 1. And the key to this is really making an effort to pull the band apart, because that's what's going to really engage the upper back. Second exercise is a tricep push-up with a scapular raise. So a tricep push-up is a close push-up. I'm going to have my hands just over shoulder width apart, and my elbows are going to stay tucked in close to my body. The scapular raise is where I'm essentially in the push-up position, going to push up to open up my scapula and then retract it. So here's what's going to look like. I'm going to do my tricep push-up, then I'm going to go into a scapular raise, and then lower my scapula. My butt's not coming up and down. It's literally my scapula, and then coming back, and then going into the tricep. If you need to divide those 2 up, that's okay. So you may do a couple of tricep push-ups, find that these are hard, you go modified, and then you start working on just the scapular raise. You can do that too. Generally, we're trying to do them both together, but whatever you can do. All right, so that's the superset. Questions? Okay, here we go. So starting with the pull down, then coming down, 1, pull that thing apart. 2, squeeze. 3, 4, 5, 6. Should really start to burn. 7, 8, 9, 10. 2 more. 11. Find it out. Keep pulling. 12. Oh, that burns. Okay. Now the tricep. So push up, scapula raise, scapula lower, push up, raise, lower, push up, raise, lower, push up, raise, lower, push up. It's perfectly normal to get tired. Push up, raise, lower. You may find your scapula movement is getting reduced because you're getting tired. That's okay. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Woo! Good job. I'm gonna take a little rest. I'm gonna do that again. Good time to ask questions if you have any. I am watching the chat, I'm listening. If you find this easy, I can always think of a harder alternative too. Harry, good to see you.
This is not easy, my
Good.
farthest thing from the bonuses. Yeah, not happening.
Okay. What do we got for time? All right, let's do it. Round 2. Here we go. Pulling apart and coming down. 1. Really focus on that back retraction. 2 and the lats. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Keep pulling apart. I know it burns. 9, 10, 11. One more. 12. Woo. Into the tricep. Oh, my triceps were burning on that arm exercise. Here we go. 1, raise scapula, lower. 2, raise, lower. 3, raise and lower. 4, raise, lower. 5, raise, lower. 6, raise, lower. 7, raise, lower. 8, raise, lower. 9, raise, lower. 10, raise, lower. 11, raise, lower. 12, raise, and lower. Woo. Oh, really survived that one. Good job. Short break. What do we got for time? We're doing pretty good.
Mark, a quick question. Can we use light dumbbells instead of the towel because it's not stretchy?
Sorry, say that again.
When you do that one instead of the towel, can we use light dumbbells to do that?
It doesn't work the same for the retraction. You can if you want.
Okay.
It makes it more of a press. The idea is to pull apart to retract.
Okay.
Whereas if you're pushing up, you're pressing. So it kind of changes the muscle groups involved. You could probably do like an isometric where you're coming down, like, or sorry, eccentric where you're coming down really slow
Okay.
and trying to squeeze your upper back. But I think the towel or band is probably more beneficial.
Okay.
It really comes down to like a mental mind-muscle connection. Like how hard can you squeeze that upper back?
Okay.
Really good to learn to focus and squeeze in that retraction.
Thank you.
Okay, here we go. Last set, round 3. Pulling apart. And here we go. Down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Really thinking about the lats the scapula. 6, upper back whole area. 7, keep it out. 8, you can do this. 9, 10, should be exhausting to keep pulling it apart. 11, one more. Whoa. Whew. Right at the tricep. 1, raise the scapula, lower. 2, raise, lower. 3, raise, lower. 4, raise, lower. 5, raise, lower. 6, raise, lower. 7, raise, lower. 8, raise, lower. 9, raise, lower. 10, raise, lower. 11, raise, lower. One more. 12, raise, and lower. Whew. All right. So round 3, we're going to do a core walkout. This one's really tough, especially where we're at right now, if you're tired. And we're going to do a side plank broken clock. So both of those you may not have heard of. The core walkout for today, we're just going to use, you can use your towel on the floor if you have a hardwood floor. If you don't have a hardwood floor on the carpet, you may want to be in bare feet just so your feet slide. For today, we're just going to do the elbow version. So we're going to go from essentially a plank, we're going to slide out, and then we're going to come slide back in. So we're going to slide out, then we're going to slide back in. So the modification to this would be doing that on your knees. So if I put the towel on my knees, what I'm going to do is come flat on my knees and then bring my elbows, knees up, come flat out, come back up. Okay, so we're just going straight out and then pulling, drawing ourselves in. Essentially, we're on our elbows, letting ourselves reach using our core and lats, and then pulling back in to the elbow position. You'll find the kneeling a lot easier than the toe version, depending on where you're at. The walkout, the broken clock, is a side plank. I'll show you what we're aiming for here. Is time is moving forward, so my feet are like a clock, and now time is moving back, hence the clock is broken. So we're going to go 1, then 2, then 3. Okay, so time is moving forward, time is moving back, our clock is broken. So that's the broken clock, and we're going to do that on both sides. This exercise will probably only get through 2 rounds because it takes a bit more time to get through. Any questions? So again, a towel on your knees if you're doing the knees version, or on your toes if you're doing the toes. If you're unsure, try the toes or try the knees. If the knees are easy, go to the toes. If the toes are too hard, go to your knees. You kind of adjust for yourself. Okay, everybody ready? Here we go. So we're gonna go flat out and up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm going to switch to the knees. You keep going. 9, 10, 11, and 12. Okay, broken clock. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now the modification for this, keep going if you're doing that, is going to be in a side plank. Have your legs separated. One leg comes forward on your knee, one leg comes back. One leg comes forward, one leg comes back. That's the other version. Keep going. I don't know where you guys would be at, around 8, whew, 9, 10, 11, and 12. All right, we're gonna change sides. You can also do elbow plank if you want. If you find it hard on your wrist. 1, 2, 3. This one's very core intensive, obviously. 4, this whole set. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Good. So I want you to remember which side you went to first. Because what you probably felt was after those reach outs and pulls, the first arm that you did, the first clock that you did, was way harder than the second clock. And that's just because your core was already a bit tired and you were taking something tired. One side was resting, the other side was working. So if you were on your right arm first and the last set, you're gonna start on your left arm on the next set. Just so you balance out which one's getting a little bit more overload and which one's getting a little bit more rest. All right, we're gonna go in about 20 seconds. So again, start where you're comfortable, on your toes or on your knees. Don't be afraid to transition from one to the next. 2, 1, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm switching, you keep going. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. All right, broken clock. So opposite of what you did the last set. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, one more, and 12. Good, change sides. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, one more. 12. Ooh, good job. Ooh, give yourselves a hand just for making it that far. That's a really tough combo. Don't be afraid to use those modifications. Don't feel discouraged if they're hard and you can't do the full version. That's okay. Okay, next round, we're going to have elevated lunges. So if you have a chair, you're just going to have that one foot up in the lunge. So you're going to come down and back up. If you want to hold weight for this, you can. And we're going to have single leg stiff leg deadlifts. So reversing a direction into a hamstring, more hamstring and glute. All right, so we're going from mostly quad dominant, a little bit of glutes, to hamstring dominant, a little bit of glutes as well. If you don't have, or if you find that elevated too hard, or you don't have anywhere to elevate, You can still go heavy and just do back step lunges, just regular lunges. That's great too. This version just helps isolate one leg at a time so that you're not using the other leg to help you too much. Helps you isolate. Okay. I assume everybody's ready. Here we go. 1, 2, fresh legs. 3, 4, 5. Lost my balance. 6, 7, 8. Squeeze that glute. 9, 10, 11, and 12. Change sides. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Stiff leg deadlifts. So hinging over, remember that neutral spine. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Really squeeze and feel that hamstring. 9. You feel in your lower back? It's probably your pelvic position. 10. Your back is probably a little bit rounded. 11, 12. Change the legs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, one more, and 12. Good job. If you have a pull-up bar or something solid like this bike here, and you have a band, a little tip for this one is to put your foot in a band and do the same thing. What happens with the band though, depending on how much resistance is there, this one has a little too much for me, is that I can only push my leg down so hard before the band stretches. And then I'm not getting as much help as I would if my foot's on there. So if you ever want to do like a pistol squat and you lack that strength, to start developing comfort and power in one leg, you put your leg in the band. As I come up, if I kick down, I don't get that as much help as I would from the couch or a solid object, right? As it stretches, I have to use that forward leg. And that helps to start rebuilding that or gaining that one leg power. All right, 10 seconds. I'm gonna use this in the second round. 2, 1, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, this is much harder. 6, woo, 7, you got it. 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Yeah, change legs. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Stiff leg deadlift. You can go a little heavier for this one if you want. 1, 2, I'm gonna grab something a little heavier. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Change legs. Getting to that hamstring and the glutes. 1. No lower back. 2. Make sure you're not rounding your lower back if you're feeling it. 3. Keep the core tight. Support the spine. 4. Not squeezing so hard. Do it 100% because you can't maintain that for this many reps. You're going to squeeze it like 70% or 60 or 70% of max because you're doing so many reps. That's going to keep a steady hold of your core instead of overtaxing your core. Couple more. 1 more. And 12. Okay. What do we got for time? All right, next round. We're going to do single arm raises, and we're going to do in and outs with, or maybe we'll do cleans because we're going to get into stretching after that. So I'll cut one of the sets. So cleans. So first one is a lateral raise. That's going to take us into an overhead position. And we're going to come down slowly to eccentric load, the shoulder and the bicep. So it looks like this, where we're coming up into a press, coming down, and coming down. So I'll fly into an overhead position, down 2. So that's that one. The clean you've seen before. So we've done lots of deadlifting. The clean, we're going to drive the hips. So with our knees slightly bent, like we do with our deadlifts, what's going to happen is when I'm about knee height, I'm going to drive my hip and bring the weight up into the shoulder. So it starts like a deadlift, then I drive my hip and the weight comes up into the shoulder, like this. So it's not a bicep curl, it's powered by my hips, my core, my glutes, all those support muscles. That's what's driving the weight up. Okay, so here, let's do this. Any questions? So if you have a can or whatever, you can use that. So here we go. Up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, one more, 12, or change arms. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Good job. Okay, if you can't do cleans, here's what you can do. On a towel, and those who know what cleans are, go ahead and get started. If you don't have a dumbbell you feel is heavy enough, you can come into here. What I want you to do is quickly bring your knees into your chest and slowly come up. Quickly bring your knees in, slowly come up. So not the same muscles being used, but still thinking about that explosive energy coming in. And if you don't have a heavier weight, you may feel the clean is kind of useless for you. So that's a really good core. Just getting an idea of that explosive movement, even though the muscle groups aren't quite the same. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, I'll go to 8 because I know a bunch of you started already. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, And change arms. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Woo, good job. That one's taxing cardio too. All right, little break. We're gonna do that again. If you have a couple of weights and you know you can't do a certain movement for all the reps, don't be afraid. You know, if you're only getting 4 or 3 or 4 with a heavier weight, use that heavier weight, get your 3 or 4, have your second weight right there. So you're doing a drop. Otherwise, you'll always work with the same weight. It'll be really hard to progress because you're never really gonna know what it's like to work with the next level of weight. So don't be afraid to start, you know, even if it's 1 rep on something that's more challenging, and do that 1 rep. Over time, the 1 becomes 2, becomes 3, a new weight becomes yours, and you move on to the next weight. Really hard to progress like that if you're constantly using a weight that's too light. Okay, are we ready? Let's do it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, one more. Whew, 12. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 2 more. You got it. 11. Whew, the cleans. Or the in and outs, explosive in and outs, whatever you got going for you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You gotta do 24 of those in and outs though. 10, 11, 12. Change arms. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, almost 10, 11, and 12. Woo. Or 24 of those in and outs. Good job. All right, we got about 4 minutes left. Woo. Now our heart rate's come down for 30 seconds. Woo. And we're gonna do a couple of stretches. Oh, great job. Oh. The lawnmower. Oh. We can call it the lawnmower, man, for sure. Kick some butt with that lawnmower the next time you come across it. Lawnmowers beware. Okay, we're gonna lay back. We're gonna cross the one knee over, maintaining both shoulders contact with the ground. Gonna bring the knee as low as you can. You may be up here because your hip, that's okay. As low as you can go. Generally in these heavy core movement days, lower back is often, depending on how strong your core is often one of the first to go. So getting a good stretch in and just keep working on strengthening your core. If you find something hurts your back, you just got to avoid it. Let me know, and you could always find alternatives. Let's change arm, let's change side, sorry. Legs gonna come across the body. The other side, shoulders on the ground, knee as close to the floor as you can. Good, we're gonna come up and we're gonna go into a pigeon. If you can bring that foot out. So in a high position, I'm at a 90-degree angle at my knee, which really helps open up my hips, as opposed to having this foot down here and the hip closed. Depends on how flexible you are. So if you can, open up your hip a little bit. If it's too much for you, then do what you can. And change sides. Good, we're gonna come up into a lunge position. Last one. If you need to, you can just drive the hip forward. If you can, you're gonna pick up that back leg and then drive the hip forward. Just getting in that hip flexor. And we'll change legs. All right, we are done. Thanks for coming. I hope you got a good workout. Enjoy the rest of your day.